Hi, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Thursday, April the 6th. Let's start in Washington. Democrats in the U.S. Senate today mounted their filibuster of Neil Gorsuch's nomination to be on the U.S. Supreme Court. They were successful, and Republicans immediately then moved to end the filibuster rule on U.S. Supreme Court nominations. In a day or so, they'll have Gorsuch confirmed. I think there's a growing feeling that liberals in the Senate on the Democratic side didn't get much out of the filibuster in the past, while Republicans got a lot. Republican Senators Tom Cotton and John Boozman blamed the outcome today on the Democrats. Of course, they see no culpability in spending an entire year trying to block Barack Obama's appointment of Merrick Garland to the U.S. Supreme Court. Different strokes for different folks. Yesterday, we reported, late last night actually, that Governor Asa Hutchinson had killed a plan by Jay Barth, a member of the State Board of Education, to ask the state board to vote by May of next year on returning local control to the Little Rock School District. Clearly, Governor Hutchinson doesn't want local control of the Little Rock School District. He prefers having Johnny Key, his education commissioner, in charge. This is an important fact to consider May 9th when the Little Rock School District votes on giving Johnny Key control over $600 million more in property taxes to spend as he chooses on the schools, which have been harmed by his concurrent policy to help charter school growth in Little Rock to the detriment of the Little Rock School District. On this subject today, Wendell Griffin, a circuit judge and Baptist preacher, issued a blast against the school vote May the 9th. He said he won't vote for it for the first time ever. He urges others not to vote for it. He says it's tyranny, it's taxation without representation. He says he will not be a stooge or a farmhand for the Chamber of Commerce or the Walton Foundation, both of whom are pushing for the tax increase. They didn't like the majority black school board that once ran the district. Leading black people are dead set against this. It's going to be an important factor in the vote. Last night, Little Rock police killed the third person criminal suspect of the year. He was somebody wanted on multiple felony counts. He reportedly rammed one car and then tried to ram a police car. Police opened fire. He's dead. So far, no names have been revealed. The execution process grinds on, and a lot's going to be happening. It's hard to keep up with it all. The Arkansas Supreme Court refused to grant a couple of stays of execution this morning. In federal court today, Price Marshall held that the execution clemency process, although greatly shortened because of the state's rush to kill 8 people in 1 month, was not so shortened that it made it unconstitutional. He did, however, block the execution of one inmate, Jason McGee, who's been recommended for clemency by the state parole board. He's made a good enough case that I guess the judge thinks he should have more time to fully develop this so that the governor consider his request for mercy fully. Elsewhere today, we reported that French Hill, the U.S. congressman from Little Rock, had announced his support for a Labor Department change in an Obama administration rule called the fiduciary rule. What it is simply was a rule by the Obama administration to require more disclosure and more consumer protection of older people who put their money in retirement accounts so they wouldn't get charged punitive fees and be otherwise taken advantage of by investment people. French Hill thinks that's just dandy for the financial industry to have the balance of power in this arrangement. He is a former banker, of course. 2 people were found guilty in federal court this morning of stealing money from the federal government by making up fake figures about feeding poor children in summer feeding programs operated by the Department of Human Services. This is now something like 15 people have either been found guilty or pleaded guilty to fraud in this, something like an $11 million fraud deal, kind of an unbelievable thing. I should mention that today is Arkansas Gives Day. Go to arkansasgives.org. It's sponsored by the Arkansas Community Foundation. It's a chance to give at least $25 or more, of course, to your favorite charity and compete and help the charities compete for additional cash prizes for strong support from their people. We're happening to choose, I am choosing Lucy's Place, the outreach to homeless LGBT youth, a young startup that's doing great work with a difficult group of people who sometimes aren't welcome in the community, and I'm going to give them my help. And anybody's good enough. Charity's always good, whatever. These are times where sometimes we say if you didn't laugh, you'd have to cry, given the political outlook from our end of the spectrum. I had to laugh this morning reading about a Democratic legislator in Texas, Jessica Farrar. She's from Houston, Texas. She finally had enough of the anti-woman, anti-choice, anti-abortion legislation in Texas, and she introduced a bill called the Right to Know for Men law. It provides a number of requirements before men can get a vasectomy, Viagra, and it also puts some limits on masturbation and other sorts of things, and some fairly invasive rules for men, just like those that have been passed for women. It's satirical, of course, but it is kind of funny. Maybe we ought to look at this in Arkansas, make a few of our men folk who are telling the women folk what to do at least maybe a little uncomfortable, you think? Lots going on to resist here and abroad and in Washington. We'll keep resisting. I'm Max Brantley.